Welcome to Bitching and Moaning, the podcast where we talk shit, spill the tea, and say all the things you're definitely thinking about but shouldn't say out loud.
We're your hosts. I'm Stephanie with Patricia, and together we're your weekly dose of sass, laughs, and just the right amount of bad decisions.
From sexy stories to petty rants, nothing's off limits. So grab your wine or your drink of choice, loosen your morals, and let's get into it.
Because if we're not bitching,
we're probably moaning. Welcome to Bitchin and Moanin. We are back in the studio.
I know. It's kind of sad when you think about it. It's like we've been doing a lot of traveling, and I loved it. Loved being in Mexico. It was so fun, and now we're back indoors.
We are back indoors. But studio hasn't changed much. It's still here, still bright. We are going to start with our wines today. Why don't you go ahead and start with yours?
Okay, so I have from Wildwood Cellars the Elderberry Blackberry Mead. So this is kind of what it looks like, but we'll show you a picture. It's a sweet wine. You know that's going to be a sweet wine, right? And it's a combination of honey in addition to the elderberry and blackberry, and it's 12% alcohol. So I have a big glass. So I might be feeling pretty good later, you know. But yeah, I like this Wildwood Cellars. In one of our previous podcasts talked about it's in Kansas.
Okay,
and it's local to a little town called Mulvane, which is just south of Wichita.
Okay.
So yeah, so it's a little tiny place, and like to stop in there in the holidays and pick up some wine. And now I order it. So
very nice.
I love it.
Very nice. I like it. I probably should have filled mine up more. I have Messina Hoff. Yes, my Messina Hoff. This is actually a private reserve Cabernet 2022. It is very bold, as you can see it a little bit maybe, but a little dry, which I like. I don't like it too dry. Lots of flavoring with like blackberries and would go really, really good with some chocolate if you want to do that. But yeah, this is Messina Hoff. So cheers for being back in the studio.
I know. So I had to savor it there for a minute. It's so good. So good.
So we have what we decided our topic today would be a little bit of bitching, a little bit of moaning of traveling. We know that summer is just around the corner, and people will be traveling, and whether it's by car, by plane, by bus, by train, there's lots of things to consider. We've actually done some traveling in the last few months, and we're noticing some differences as well as far as cost goes, as far as weather goes. So I think we're going to do a little bit of bitching about the weather.
Yes.
I guess that's because of today, right?
Yeah, in Texas, if any of y'all have seen the news, there's been a lot of tornadoes and hail, and this time of the year is just really bad for storms. And so it goes from like 93 one day, and today it's like 65, and it's like fall because it's like that misty kind of rain and gloomy. Which explains kind of why we're in more warm here at the end of April, you know, which is so weird. But yeah, it just is real gloomy, and it's hard to get excited about anything, traveling and otherwise, just because the weather is just
right. And you think about March and April are usually spring break time for different areas. Our spring break here in Texas is usually earlier in March, but I know up north it's usually in April, like around Easter time. So imagine having tickets to come to the south and you're stuck in these crazy torrential rains or tornadoes or whatever. But so we're going to talk a little bit about that. That's kind of a bitching. I just also experienced that on a trip I was in that I'm going to talk about as well. I got completely rained on, and I paid money to go there, and I knew it was going to rain, but when I booked it, I did not know it was going to rain.
Yeah.
So, but you just handle it. You prepare, and you put your big girl panties on
Yeah.
and say, I'm going to be
Yeah.
wet all day.
Yeah.
However you want to look at that.
I think that's just where you make a backup plan, because you have, like,
Yeah.
you plan something 6 months in advance, you really have no idea what the weather is going to be like. So it's like, well, maybe we'll have a couple indoor things as a backup if you're planning to do all outdoor, because you just really don't know.
Exactly.
But go with
So,
the flow.
I pulled a few things from the Googly Goog, because, you know, we love the Googly Goog, but just some tips in general for now. But one would be, make sure that you are packing smart. I am an overpacker. I pack the kitchen sink. I pack the washer and dryer. I pack everything. I am a way overpacker. But
Me too.
I have learned from some of my close friends who are not overpackers, but they are organized packers.
Oh, that would be nice.
So if you have seen recently, they do have those little organized pouches that you can buy. You can get them on Amazon or Walmart or Target, whatever, but they're kind of cute. They come in different sizes, and then, you know, you put your clothes in here, and you put your undergarments in another one, you put your shoes in another one. So if you can do that, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I went on a trip with it was actually a couple of years ago. We went to California, and it was my daughter's engagement trip, like bachelorette trip, and I roomed with one of my girlfriends who I adore to no end. And she looked at my suitcase and she said, how the hell do you pack like that? And then I look at her suitcase and she's all organized with her little
said
packet.
the same thing to her.
And I was like, how do you pack like that? Like, I would be freaked out that I forgot something. Or I didn't know.
Yeah.
But she was so organized with all her little packy things, and I thought it was adorable. I thought it was great. I'm like, kudos to her. And, you know, I actually bought a set, but it did not work for me. Like, I could not fit all my stuff in like one package. Like, I couldn't put my jeans in my shirt. I just couldn't do it.
Have you seen those things? They're like backpacks where they show it like on TikTok or the Reels or whatever, where they have just a backpack but it has all these little tiny pouches.
No.
And I'm like, and it's like all the side pockets, and I'm like, how do they put shoes and everything in there?
And people do it.
People
even flight, you know, even flight attendant. Shout out to my flight attendant world, and they pack their little compartments. I did learn how to pack like my makeup, which remember I don't wear that much, but my makeup, my hair stuff, and my like shampoo stuff. I bought little packs of those little packages that say like face or skin or whatever. I bought those, and those actually were helpful because I had thrown everything into like one thing and I had too much of nothing, you know. So pack smart. You don't have to take everything. Remember, you're still, if you're traveling within the United States, there's a Walmart or a Target or a Walgreens that usually has or you know, some kind of convenience store that's going to have something for you.
I am really bad about taking, like, I want my own shampoo.
Of course, everybody does.
But I don't buy the travel size bottles to put in there because I'm like, well, I'm going to run out of conditioner. So I want my whole bottle, and I'm like, that is not smart packing.
No.
Again, you could run to Walmart or whatever, but I don't know why I do that. I always take my hair dryer. Hotels have hair dryers.
Every hotel.
And I'm like, I don't know. It's like, well, what if it's broke in the hotel? And then I don't have to go buy one. That's kind of how I think. I don't want to spend money at Walmart when I could go to get a magnet, because I'm a big magnet person. So that, and then I always, again, not smart packing is, I'm like, well, I feel like I'm going to wear this outfit today, but when I get there, I need 2 more backup plans because I'm a shirt or something.
That's exactly how I am too.
So again, I am not a very smart packer. My husband is like, I need 2 pairs of shorts and 3 shirts and some underwear. I'm good, you know. And I am not that way.
Oh my gosh, this trip that I just went on, I packed 3 coats. 3 coats. And it was like, what am I doing? On top of like 8 pairs of shoes because I didn't know.
Well, I'm thinking you have to coordinate. That's another thing I do. It's like, I need this coat to go with, you know, this outfit. I need a dressy one because I have a dress, or I need this one for my casual walking around. I'm like, nobody's like looking at your coat.
Like we're famous models or something. Nobody gives a shit.
Fashionista or anything. So what's the point?
Exactly. It's kind of funny though that you're talking about the hotels and stuff, because back in the day, hotels didn't have anything, nothing. You're lucky if you got a towel back in the day. And so, of course, they listen to the people, and they have these beautiful, I don't want to say gourmet, but like, the very expensive shampoos and conditioners and body washes. And then they have the hair dryers and, towels, black towels to take your makeup. I mean, they have all this shit, but then you have to bring all your stuff, Pack smartly. So that's one. Stay connected, but try to disconnect. So obviously, if you are going to travel, especially if you're traveling out of the country, out of the United States, make sure you're letting your credit card companies, your bank, your phone company, everybody, let them all know that you will be traveling, because you will hate it when you walk up to pay for something and it's declined. Right. And it's not because you don't have money, it's because it's a fraud alert. Right. So now you either have to go through your bank, or they have to send you a text, or blah, 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 blah. So if you just let your card company and your bank know, then you can breeze through that stuff. And careful who you're giving your credit cards to, because if you're in some countries, they may take that credit card and then they're buying airline tickets with it, or phones or something. That happened to me once.
That's why tap to pay, if they have tap to pay, is really good, because if you don't know, it encrypts your card numbers, so that way people can't steal it.
And be careful. Don't give your phone to the person you tap.
You just tap it yourself. And you were talking about letting your banks know. I did that before we went to Mexico because I didn't want that to happen. And I'm like, I don't want them to think somebody, was there using my card.
It happened to me. I went to my so the trip that I'm going to talk about is I went to New York City, and I went to purchase something, and it went declined. I'm like, oh Lord. And then a minute later I got the text fraudulent, and then I got an email fraudulent, and that's because I normally don't use that card. I use a different card. I'm like, screw it. So then I used the regular card that I used. But it's kind of like, oh God, it's kind of embarrassing, but people know nowadays that happens because you're in another city or state or whatever.
But I'm kind of glad, even though it's a nuisance, if you forget, I'm glad it happens, because
because
if you're not out of town and you get something from New York, then you can decline it. So those things are like a nuisance when you're going, but it's a great thing when you're not. So
the other part about staying connected is Googly or Travel Advisor, or there's just so many out there. Look at reviews of where you are going, whether you are staying at a hotel, an Airbnb, a hostel, wherever you're going. Make sure that you look at reviews, and don't look at one or two. Look at several, because the first one could be like, and sometimes people pay for those reviews, like, hey, put some good reviews out there for us, So make sure you're, and the year and date when the review was done, because it could be an old one. But look at the reviews, and, make sure that what area you're going in, like, just kind of familiarize yourself with, okay, my hotel is here, or my Airbnb is here. How far am I from whatever is around me? Go to the, what is that? Google Map, like when you can see the image.
Oh,
what is that called? I know, I can't think of it.
I think you could do Google Maps where you can see everything. You can do it on 3D.
The image. 3D. So go into that and look at the surroundings. Look at the hotel. Because when you look at it on their website, of course it looks beautiful, whatever. But you may go to Google Maps and then it's under construction, and there's construction everywhere, and it's going to be loud, or across the street is a junkyard or something. So just kind of look at those pictures and stuff like that.
I think that's good to ask, if you're considering staying there, is call the hotel and say, hey, are you under construction or something, just to see, because I believe it was my husband stayed for work somewhere, and they were actually doing some construction, and it's like, no, you don't want to be around that. You don't know what their hours are, or the floors closed down, and that just means extra people in the hotel.
Right.
You don't know who gets a key or who's going to follow you around. So I think finding out what's happening in the hotel is a good thing too. So
that's some stay connected, budget wisely, and track your spending. I'm terrible at this. I'll just admit it. I am not the big budgeter. My husband is. But I do, and we do when we go. we take a certain amount of cash, just so that you know, even if you're in a foreign country, you need to, like, maybe you don't want to give your credit card, or if you're trying to shop for something, you may be able to negotiate something, you know, cheaper with cash rather than a credit card. And then again, you don't always want to give your credit card to people, but and then stay within that limit. And then if you do have your card, just try not to go over what you set out your budget to be. Emergencies do happen. We understand that, but just try to stay with that. And if you come home with money or cash, that would be great, you know? So budget wisely.
Yeah, my husband's a good budgeter too, and I guess coming from the single mom background for so many years, I never had any money. So it's kind of funny when we go on vacation now. I know we have a stash of money or whatever for buying things, t-shirts, whatever, you know, just anything you see. It's like you can, you know, get a little souvenir or whatever. But I always ask, it's like, is it okay if I get this? And he's like, why are you even asking? But I think it comes from that background of when you haven't had money.
Right.
You're thinking it's over the amount you're supposed to spend. He's like, just get what you want. And so I think about that a lot. And now it's a habit. I don't even think about it. He's like, why do you keep asking me? I'm like, I don't know.
I know. But we're going to take a quick break, and then we will be right back. I know that was crazy. Okay, and we were talking about our trip, our trip to Mexico, and also to New York. And just make sure that you are looking things up and letting your bank know about your travels, and look up reviews. The other thing is, this kind of goes with looking up the reviews, prioritize your safety and your health. Make sure that you stay hydrated, drink water, drink Gatorade, whatever, stay hydrated. Quick story, I was in Mexico last year, and I went with my husband, and I did not drink enough water and ended up in the hospital with a kidney stone. Yes, I did. And being in a Mexican hospital is not something you want to do.
That's nerve-wracking in itself.
It's scary as hell. I thought I was dying. First, I thought I had parasites in my body because I went to a cenote, which is like one of those swimming holes, and I thought, like, parasites came out into my body and started eating away at my insides. But needless to say, it was like painful and terrible and very, very expensive. So stay hydrated, drink all you want, but just make sure you're drinking that water. My husband was just in Mexico, and his he was having some teeth stuff done, and one of his caps came off. So I had to go to the dentist in Mexico. I'm like, I think we just need to stay away from Mexico.
Let's find another place to go.
Another place. But stay healthy. You know, walk. Make sure you know how much you can walk.
Shoes, their comfort level if you're going to be doing a lot of walking.
Yes, coats, umbrellas, hats, all that kind of stuff. Sunscreen if you're on the beach. I'm terrible with that too. But
I was really bad about that. Talking about Mexico. So I haven't been out like tanning in forever. You know, sunlight is not my friend at this age or whatever. And when we went, the first day I didn't even think about it, and I just fried myself. And we were only out there like a couple hours. So then I'm putting it on, and then the next day I don't think I put on enough, and I've sunburned the other side of my body. And then, of course, you know, you're miserable when you're wearing clothes or a tag touches you. And so again, hydration, sunscreen, even if it's overcast, you really need to, like, you know, put it on your face or whatever, because that sun will get you. Those rays
it really
get you
will,
no matter what.
And the safety part about it as well. A lot of people, when if y'all watched our last episode, a lot of people were really worried about us going to Mexico because there was some cartel dealings going on. It wasn't in the area where we were going to be, but being here, you don't know what areas are what, you know.
Right.
And that's where you do your research. You look and see how far away is this whole thing happening from where we're going to stay. And the trip that I just went on with my girls, we went to New York City, and you see a lot of stuff at New York City, people walking down the street just getting punched in the face, or going on the train and getting stabbed. And I mean, it's horrible. It's horrible stuff. And here I'm taking my 2 daughters. I have to be the protector, even though they're grown. I want to make sure that they're okay. And the night before we left, I actually started getting a little anxious because I was like, I hope everything's going to be fine. I would hate to be walking down the street and then something happen, you know? So I chose to make sure that we were safe we didn't take the train anywhere.
Right.
We just Ubered and then we walked. But when we did walk, it was in kind of the community of like the Times Square and Broadway and stuff like that.
Very populated areas.
Populated, which again, anything can happen anywhere. You know, things happen here in Austin. Anything can happen.
Well, and we mentioned that in our last podcast talking about Mexico, is because you had said it was really, really safe, but I was still nervous because I'm like, okay, are you sure? Because you don't know what you don't know. Yes. And even though you trust somebody like as close as we are, I'm like, I trust you completely. Yes. But I haven't seen it.
Right.
And then, you know, once you've been there, then I'm like, oh, I didn't have to worry about anything.
Exactly. So, I would never put anybody in danger. Anybody I take traveling. Do unexpected things happen? Yes, of course. Could she have gotten a parasite in a cenote? She could have. But you know what? I did not take her to a cenote.
You learned from the last time. I'm not taking anyone to one of those.
And honestly, it had nothing to do with the cenote. It was just me. But now it's in my head.
Right? Now it's like seared in there. It's like, I will never do those. I don't care.
Do you know what's funny, though? I just watched a movie. I'm going to pivot a little. I just watched a movie that came out, I think, on Netflix or Hulu, whatever, with Mark Wahlberg and another guy. And they are like advertising guys. And it's called Balls Up.
Balls Up,
whatever it's on. And it's kind of a stupid movie, but it was actually kind of funny. And they end up getting lost and trapped in like the jungle somewhere. Let's just say that. And they're on this made raft, whatever it was. And the jungle people had said to him, watch the water because there are fish that go into your urine and go up your thing.
Oh my God.
And they didn't understand what the tribe guy was saying. And so they go out there and it's dark out and Mark Wahlberg starts peeing and here comes the fish into his pee-pee. And I'm like, that is what I'm talking about. Those things coming right into you. And you got to see the scene because it is funny as hell. I'm not going to tell you the rest of it, but go see that scene because he has to get that fish out somehow, and it is funny. But that's what I think of because you see it in these movies, stuff, you know. Yeah. But anyways, back to traveling tips. So just try to stay safe. Embrace the unexpected. So you can have a schedule. I was trying to be all organized. I made a little agenda for my girls when I went to New York City. We went for some Broadway shows. And we went to go see Chicago. Shout out Whitney Levitt and Mark Ballas. They did an excellent job. And then we also went to see Moulin Rouge. Shout out Meg Thee Stallion. I mean, come on. She was like, Chicago was probably, that Broadway show was probably the best show I've ever seen in my life, live. And but I planned our hotel very close. We were 2 blocks from one auditorium and 2 blocks from the other auditorium, so we could walk. Did we think it was going to be pouring rain outside? No. But a couple of days beforehand, we were checking the weather, and it was freezing cold compared to here. Like here, it's 90 degrees. There, it was like 30 or 40 degrees and
cold.
Raining.
That's our winter, you know.
You could see your breath, and I was like, oh. But so that's hence the 3 jackets I brought. But we did have umbrellas. We had jackets. We had boots. We were prepared. It was, you know, you're still dressed up really nice and you're still in the wetness, but But it was beautiful to see both of those Broadway shows, and especially now that they're coming to an end, they both are not going to be in those shows anymore. So we kind of got the tail end of it, but it was so much fun. And did we expect it to be freezing cold and rainy? Not when we bought the tickets, we didn't. But we dealt with it. We prepared. We got umbrellas, walked around. We went to Chinatown, which was a little bit further away from where we were staying. And we were just out in the cold all day long and just kind of going, this is it. But we found some beautiful places to shop and an incredible place to eat. Also, when I kind of say embrace the possibly uncomfortableness or embrace the comfort too, you may meet up with people.
Yeah.
So I do have a couple of people I want to talk. I just kind of want to give a shout out. You can a little shout out to, because when we were in Chinatown, we met. We were at a little shopping thing, and we asked a girl, "Hey, where's a good place to eat?" And since it was raining, there was really hardly anybody out at the time. And so she said, right across the street, there's this famous restaurant that they make their own noodles.
Ooh, fun.
Tiny little place. Tiny. It had probably 10 tables in it, if that.
Yeah.
Tiny little place. So we're like, no line, let's go. And we get seated. We start big bowls of ramen, they make
yummy.
you could see them making the noodles, dumplings. Oh my God, it was amazing. So the place was called 1915. Okay. I don't know, maybe because it's been around that long, but beautiful, beautiful food. Everything tasted fresh. They make it right then and there. And I'm a talker, obviously.
Imagine that.
I met some great girls. So I'm going to give a shout out to Casey and Shannon and Mia. They were these super nice girls. They were from Chicago visiting NYC. And
which, that's crazy because you're from Chicago.
So. And it happened to be draft day. This weekend was draft weekend for the football.
That's right.
So we kind of had a little football talk about how great our Bears are going to be this upcoming season. We got some really good defensive players. That is what we needed. So those girls were awesome. I'm going to put up a picture of them for you. And just talking to people, getting to know their stories is so nice. They are interested in you, you're interested in them. And, you just share a little conversation rather than being on your phone. I have a hard time when people are at dinner or whatever and they're on their phones. It's like, talk to each other.
It's funny you say that because you've called me out on that. You're like, what are you doing? Put your phone down.
I do. What is so important? That phone is going to be there. Yeah. Everything in that phone is going to be there when we leave this table.
Yeah.
But I'm not. I'm not going to be in front of you. Yeah. So I do. I have a hard time with that. I really, unless you're taking pictures, which pictures are fine. Yeah. I love pictures, but looking through, I don't like that at all. The other place we went to was before we went to see Chicago, we went to a place called the Pebble Bar. It is a cute little bar not far from Times Square, and it has some owners, but there were some very interesting investors that invested in the bar originally. Wow. Pete Davidson, which we know and love.
That's cool.
Yeah, and Justin Theroux.
Okay.
You know who he is, right?
He dated Jennifer Aniston. Right?
Yes.
Were they married?
I thought they got engaged. Maybe.
Okay. Yeah, but it was serious.
Yeah.
I can't remember if they got married.
Jason Sudeikis.
Yep.
Sudeikis, you know who he is. Yep. And then DJ Mark Ronson.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they all kind of invested in that, and
That's so cool.
It was a cute little bar that we went and had some apps and some drinks, and the drinks were amazing. Again, started talking to some people right next to us. These guys here, they were awesome. They were a brother and sister that they were celebrating his birthday, and strangely enough, their family was from Texas. I mean, what are the odds?
30 minutes from here.
30 minutes from here. And I thought, oh my God, you have to come to NYC to talk to people from here. They actually lived in that area, like New Jersey or wherever they lived, but their parents still live in this area here, and so we had a lot in common, and they were kind of my kids' age, my girls' age, so it was really kind of neat.
Right,
so
yeah.
got some pictures of them, and then we went to the Moulin Rouge and saw that. Oh, God, that was just so amazing. But these girls came in front of us, and they were gorgeous, gorgeous black women. Just I don't know how to explain, but they were beautiful women. And they came and sat down, and one of them had this gorgeous afro, gorgeous afro. I couldn't see that well. And she even asked me, she's like, can you see okay? And I'm like, oh, sure. What do I say?
Yeah.
No, you know. But she was amazing, and I looked around, and I still saw everything I needed to see for the show, and they were wonderful. But Q and Di, I think there were their names, and I have some pictures of them too. I said, you know, I just wanted to take a picture of gorgeous women because I can definitely appreciate that, and gorgeous men too. And then the last person I met after Moulin Rouge, we decided to take a little walk to a couple of bars just to have a drink. And we went into like an Irish pub, my daughters and I, just to kind of chat. And when I went to order my drink, there was a gentleman sitting down by himself. And, you know, I don't know if you guys realize that there are sometimes people don't even talk to other people throughout the day. Like, they don't even get like, how's your day? How are you? You know, we talk all the time. We have kids. We have significant others. We have friends. But there are some people that may not have that.
Right, yeah.
And so I'm always talking to people. And so I asked him, hey, how's your day going? And we talked a little bit. And he was so nice. What a nice man. He was from Iowa, a retired police officer. So grateful. This is him here. And he had told me that he comes to New York every year and sees 5 Broadway shows every year.
Wow.
And I'm like, that is the coolest thing.
Yeah.
And, you know, whether he comes by himself or with whoever, it was just really nice to talk to him. And, you know, he talked to my daughters too. And he just said, you know, your mom is so nice. I'm like, it's not that. It's just, I felt grateful to be able to have a conversation with somebody who was just such a nice person. So I appreciated it. And then his name was Joel. So kudos to Joel. And he was nice enough to buy me a little drink. He actually asked my daughters, he's like,
That
do
was
you mind? Yeah.
very polite, very nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's like, do you mind if I buy your mom a drink? And they're like, well, she's married, but sure.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm not looking for anything like that. I would just like to buy a drink. And that was so nice of him. So thank you, Joel.
It's kind of like a little thank you for taking time out of your day just to have a conversation.
Absolutely.
You know?
So those were my interactions. A lot of other, you know, just kind of hi and whatever. I did run into some famous people at the Chicago show.
You run into famous people all over the place, just randomly. It's so crazy. It's like you have a little magnet for that kind of stuff.
But, you know, we had actually talked about this series, but the Traders, we love the Traders and Housewives. You know, I love Housewives. I love Island. We've talked about all of them. So, Candace from the Traders, who's also an Atlanta, I believe, housewife, she was there with Top Chef Kristen Kish, is I think her name is, and then Maura. I don't know her last name, but she was on Love Island.
Yeah.
She's going to be on with Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah.
So they were all there, and we got pictures with them, so we'll put those up too. But that was really kind of neat. We just, you know, I'm always looking for famous people, but to run into them was really nice.
You don't know who you're going to run into anywhere, because I was coming back from Fort Lauderdale. After we went to Mexico, I came home and then flew to Fort Lauderdale because my husband was working there. And we're at the airport coming home, and he goes up to this line for this restaurant, and we were just going to sit there and wait. And we're looking, and I'm like, this man looks really familiar. And I'm like, gosh, who is that? And then I start putting two together. I'm like, oh, this is a famous person, but I'm afraid I'm going to say something. And they're like, oh, no, that's not me, whatever, right? You know, have this hesitation. And I asked my husband, I'm like, who is that? He goes, I think it's Jamie Raskin, the U.S. House of Representatives. I think he's on the Oversight Committee, one of the leading people in the House. And so all of a sudden, before I could even catch myself, I went, excuse me. And I went, oh, what did I just do? And he turned around at me and was so startled in his face. And I said, are you Jamie Raskin? And he said, yes. And I just had to thank him for his work, you know, because it's hard being a politician.
Nowadays,
I mean, you get death threats on either side. It's hard.
Right.
But I just wanted to appreciate his service. And he was so nice and took time out. And I asked if we could have a picture with him. And he said, yeah, his daughter actually took it for us. And, you know, I'm kind of like, my heart is racing because I'm like, this man didn't even have to talk to us. And so it was really cool. You never know. He was flying back from some event, and I'm like, I gotta let this man go. He's just trying to eat some lunch with his wife and his daughter, and I'm like, but it was very nice that those people, celebrities, take time to talk to you because they don't have to,
right?
You
and
know?
he, probably in his mind, he probably doesn't even think he's a celebrity,
right?
Because he's doing what he loves for his country, our country, and for you to think of him as a celebrity, that's probably kind of a nice little ego boost there. So that's
I didn't
nice.
tell him he was a celebrity, but I did this stupid thing like if he was a celebrity, it just blurted out. I said, I follow you on everything, you know, and then I went, oh, that he probably thinks now I'm a freaking stalker, right? You know, which I was trying to say, you know, I follow him because I like what he's doing, right? Which a lot of people do that with politicians, celebrities. You like what they're doing or what they stand for. So so that was kind of my little brush, and it was one of those that was just really weird. And then, you know, we went and sat down, and then we actually met a couple that was from Long Island, New York. So you talk about two different accents in the same vicinity. You got the Long Island accent, and you got mine. And very, very nice people. A couple, they would go down to Fort Lauderdale quite often. And so we had a conversation with them, and it was nice, you know. So it's nice to, like, learn about different people and their backgrounds, where they're from. And you know, it's just really interesting to kind of strike up that little bond with those people.
And you'll know, like, we're not saying go talk to every stranger there. You know, you'll know when people don't want to be bugged, especially if they have their AirPods in or their headphones on or whatever, and they just don't want to be messed with.
Right.
But then there's other people that, like, you know, they wouldn't mind a nice little conversation, you know, and maybe they don't even know they want a little conversation. But, you know. So back to some of the traveling tips. Make sure you plan ahead. Plan ahead. Summer's coming. I know we're in April. We're going to getting ready to be into May, but graduations, end of school years, that everything starts happening. And if you don't plan ahead, you will start paying the price.
Right.
Especially because we know that right now we're in a war. And gas prices for not only your automobiles, but for airplanes, buses, you know, electricity, all that, everything's going up. Everything's very, very expensive. So if you try to plan ahead, you might be able to save some dollars. Do your googly research. And see, you know, what people are running some specials. Sometimes hotels will give you, like, if you get 3 days or 4 days, they'll give you one extra day, or early check-ins, or, you know.
I think you also have to think about time frame because, you know, our kids are grown. So my husband booked his trip to Fort Lauderdale on one of the spring break weeks. Okay, it's a beach, right?
Yeah.
So on the way back, you know, the airport was packed full of people trying to get home. And it's like, well, next time we have to do this, we're going to either do it the very first, at the end of February, 1st of March, or 1st of April, because, you know, if you don't want to be caught up in that, you know, think about when you're planning your trip as well. Do you mind that it's spring break and you have all the craziness, or would you rather just go at a different time, maybe an off season or something?
And you know, June, end of May, June, July is all the kids are out of school,
and all the holidays too.
And the holidays, so people are going to be running around. But again, just plan ahead. You know, it doesn't take that long to just kind of sit down and write out what you want to, or whoever you're traveling with, your friends or your significant other, and just say, okay, let's plan this, and this, and then give yourself some free time too. Sometimes people over plan, and then the next thing you know, you need a vacation from your vacation. And my husband hates that. He's like, I don't want to be going all over the place, all over the
Yeah.
place, you know. I'm the one who wants to go all over the place. So I do have to be conscious of that and say, okay, we'll have this day as a downtime. And then if something comes up, it'll come up, you know.
I think what we liked with Mexico is we knew we were going to have to get up at like 3 a.m. or 3:30 to come
Yeah.
back. So the day before was kind of our let's chill at the house and hang out. So you
Yeah.
can go the whole time, but okay, you got to pack and all those things. That maybe that's the time where you have kind of a lazy day.
Yeah.
Or, let me just go have lunch somewhere and then come back. So it's you can go, but it's that day trying to come back.
Yeah.
It's like that's the hardest, I think.
Yeah.
The other thing about planning as well, learn this in Fort Lauderdale, might be in other airports, but it's a smaller airport. And we, here in the DFW area, you can show up at the airport anytime and go through security, right? And you can stay in the Admiral's Club or
yeah.
whatever club for like 8 hours before you fly. Well, Fort Lauderdale, they have a 4-hour rule that you can't check in before that. And we didn't know, so we got there 6 hours before, and we see all these people lined up by the windows, and I'm like, what is happening here?
Oh, my goodness.
Well, we went to check in, and it's like you can't check in, and it is to the minute. So we
yep.
ended up just sitting on the floor for like 2
Oh,
hours
no.
because it was so crowded that it's not like you could leave the airport and
Right,
go to
right.
a restaurant or something. So that was a lesson we learned. Talk about planning. If you're going into a smaller airport, it might have some of those rules where you can't check in
Yes,
till a certain
true.
amount of time before. And do you want to sit on the floor trying to find a vending machine, or
Yeah,
would you
on the
rather go
floor.
to
Oh.
somewhere nice and get some breakfast and then
Right.
show up within your 4 hours?
It's
So.
funny because my son and I are like complete opposites. I like to go ahead of time. It doesn't have to be crazy ahead, but I like to go at least 2 to 3 hours ahead of time because I like to go to the Admiral's Club. That's my thing. That's my jam. And I like to check in, and also I never know what I mean. I also have pre-check, so I don't like to wait. I just don't
Yeah.
I don't have the patience for it. I'm old. I just want to go, right? But not everybody I travel with has that, and not everybody I know has that.
Right.
So my son is like, he is last minute, and he'll be like, every time he goes through, I always tell him, go an hour or two at a time. He's like, I'm fine. Like 30 minutes, 45 minutes beforehand, he's there, and he just whisks right through TSA. Takes him like less than 5 minutes, and then he'll get past TSA, and he'll call me. He goes like, told you it only took me 5 minutes. Every time, and it never fails. He does do it, and I'm like, there's gonna be that one day he doesn't get it. But then we go, and when we were traveling to New York, there was like a 30-minute wait, and some of the people that I went with didn't have the pre-check, so I'm not gonna just go ahead of them. I just don't think that's fair. And then I get up to the TSA agent, and she's like, why are you here? Why aren't you in the pre-check line? I'm like, because not everybody has it, you know, and sometimes they don't understand that,
Right.
but I don't like to leave people behind like that. So, but I'm going to definitely convince people who are traveling with me to get like global entry or TSA.
Well, I'm even late to the passport game because, I haven't wanted to travel or had a need to travel or whatever, again, until lately. So I used my passport for the first time when we went to Mexico. I was so proud to get my little passport out, so now that we're going to be doing more traveling, I need to get that pre-check or
For
global or whatever it is,
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically just, check, if you also are going by car, check the areas for the gas prices because, they have gone up tremendously and they're going to continue to go up for a while. I know California is being hit really hard, almost $6 a gallon.
Well, they
here
even
in Texas,
have a fuel shortage for airplanes. I was watching, I think, the last few days. And so, again, with prices and everything, that's going to jack tickets up if you're flying somewhere. So, all of that's going to go up.
I also heard somewhere along the way that some countries like the UK or France or whatever were going to start implementing like facial entries. So You have to do a facial thing,
Recognition?
like the recognition, but also with your fingerprints. So that
Wow.
may hold up some lines as
Yeah.
well. I'm not sure when that starts, but again, if you're going to travel to Europe or any other country like that, you might want to make sure you check into that. Check
Definitely research
yeah,
that for
research
sure.
that, and check your airlines too, what they offer. So yeah, that was really kind of it. Just make sure that you're checking thoroughly your trip, you're traveling, who you're traveling with too. Sometimes it's not the best thing to travel with somebody you don't know.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of dating apps are like, hey, hi, how are you? Oh my God, hey, we should go away for the weekend, and then you don't come back. So I'm gonna bitch about that because I love the documentaries and I love all that stuff, and hey, let's go to the Bahamas for the weekend. It'd be so great. Oh, he's so cute, and oh, she's so pretty, and then she doesn't come back.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't know what we went sailing. I don't know where she's at. And
Last time I saw her was when we came back.
yeah, and so I've just seen so many
Yeah.
of that recently, and I'm like, why are you going away with somebody that you don't know? Like, it's not fun. It's not fun.
Did you see that documentary? It happened after COVID about this girl. She went on like 2 dates with a guy, and I can't remember the name of the show.
Yes.
But she went.
The longest
and then
date?
The longest date.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they went to like, I don't know, Bahamas or wherever it was.
Costa Rica.
And then the world shut down, and then they were stuck together for like 3 months or something.
That
it
is
actually
a 1 in a million
yes,
kind of
but
show.
it was crazy.
Yes,
that
it was 1 in a million.
You just didn't know. I mean, hey, you never know when an apocalypse is going to
Right.
happen, right? But that was so crazy.
It
They were
was.
stuck there, and luckily
Yes.
both of them were good people.
Good
but
people.
you just don't know. But
And they ended up getting married, and it
Yeah.
worked out for them.
Crazy.
1 in a million.
Yeah.
But you can also go to Costa Rica and
Yeah.
get like chopped
Yeah.
up in little pieces in the jungle. So be careful.
Well, and you were talking about one of the things where we're kind of different is I don't mind driving or riding along. My husband
no.
drives, and I like to look at the countryside when we're driving everywhere. If it's like within 6 hours, I don't mind. I don't
my God.
necessarily have to get on a plane. Now, if it's like 14 hours, of course I'm going to fly. But if it's like 6 hours, I'm thinking, okay, if I need to get there 2 hours in advance, then I got to wait and sit on the tarmac or whatever. I'm like, I could have drove there and already been where I needed to go. So you like to go and get there
Yep.
and then just be there.
Yep.
Whereas I don't mind enjoying the road along the way. So I think that's, we have a few differences about us. But I think that's one of them is where I don't mind driving.
Yeah. I have done my time in driving. I really have. I driven to Florida, I don't know how many times when we were kids, since, again, remember we were pretty poor, but we had family that lived in New Jersey, so we drove there. We had family down in Florida, and we drove there. Family in Massachusetts, we drove there. I mean, we drove everywhere in my mom's station wagon.
Yeah.
North Carolina, South Carolina, Niagara Falls. Like, we just went all over the place. And it was fine, but like, I would rather get from point A to point B to enjoy my vacation.
Yeah.
Sitting in a car or a truck or a van or whatever for hours on end, no. I think my max is like 4 hours I can do, and then I start to get jittery. But I have done many, many hours. And in fact, we're going to New Orleans. I think that's 8 hours.
Yeah.
And
I'm thinking that's not bad.
and we're driving. That's my husband doing, but it was a give and take. Go see Bruno Mars in New Orleans, we drive. And
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, fine.
Okay, I'll compromise.
I'll compromise.
I think for me, it also depends on where you're driving from. Like, if you're driving from here to, like, the Panhandle, it's like, ugh, there's nothing to look at. But if I'm driving from the Panhandle into Colorado, the mountains and all that, I want to see them. I want to get out. I want to
could
take
see
my
them on a
pictures.
plane.
I know, you're like, oh, pretty. Okay, let's get there. But yeah, to me, it's kind of depending on your scenery, because I don't need to drive through the South to go to Florida,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I want to get there, right?
Yeah.
But like the mountains and stuff, there's just some beauty that I want to see, the Grand Canyon or stuff, which I wouldn't mind driving to. But yeah, it's like it depends, but I'm okay driving. We drove to years ago. I did on my husband's side did a vacation to South Dakota because his dad wanted to go see Mount Rushmore, and we drove there. It's like 22 hours. And it's a long stretch, but, you know, I didn't mind it because I wasn't at home. That was kind of my justification. I'm like, I'm not sitting in the house, right? I am out and I am going somewhere. And I enjoyed it because I hadn't seen that country in forever.
Yeah.
But, you know, depending on where you go to, South Dakota, it's pretty expensive to fly into. That it's cheaper to drive than it is to actually fly in because the airports are really small. So, yeah, I don't mind driving. I like it. And then I like stopping at Buc-ee's and those random weird places.
We have a Buc-ee's 10 minutes up the road. I don't need to.
I got to get my magnet, you know? I don't know. One of those crazy.
You get magnets. What do I get? Sorry. I made a little purchase in New York, and it was impulsive, but really wasn't impulsive because it was just beautiful. I got a pair of Louis, and
you'll have to put a picture up because they are very cute.
Here, I'll put a picture.
Very, very
there.
cute.
Look at how
Summer
gorgeous
shoes.
they are.
Yeah, very cute.
Yeah, I didn't. That was like, but this is what happened. My daughter needed a pair of gym shoes because she just needed a pair of gym shoes for whatever reason. And we went to Neiman Marcus, and I went, okay, I'm going to go sit right over here while you look, because it had a very big shoe department. But smack dab in the middle of the shoe department was a shoe bar. So it literally had a bar. I can put more pictures of a bar that served you while you were shopping for your shoes, which
crazy.
Is so smart, but so dangerous because those espresso martinis, they went down so easily.
They know because the more you drink, the more you're going to buy and not think about money.
I was like, where are my Louis? And they're like, they're on the second floor. So I said, can I take my drink? She said, sure you can. So here I take my little espresso martini down to Louis section. And I was like, oh, it's like angels start to sing, you know. I passed all the other ones, Manolo Blahnik and, you know, whatever else. But I just went to mine and I'm like, all right. And I'm looking at all of them. They were beautiful, but I have heels. So I'm like, you know what? Maybe I need some other ones for summer. And I found this gorgeous pair and they were just saying, take me home. Take me home. And I
You're
did.
my mama.
Mama. They were just babies. And I took them home with me. So that was my little impulsive buy, but that's okay. I didn't buy any.
Good.
Yeah, I did good. I did really good because they're so cute. But anyways, so you get magnets and I get shoes.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But they're not always Louis. Sometimes if I'm with my husband, he limits me, and so I'll buy a cute little pair of heels or something somewhere else. But so travel wisely. Just make sure you're planning, and if you're not a planner, get somebody to help you plan, and just watch your surroundings too. It's a really crazy world out there, and you know, even the greatest places that are supposed to be like a Disney and all that, just you know, just be careful. So we have a moaning. Do you have a moaning?
I'm just going to moan that I'm not going to be traveling for a long time because we did so much at the beginning of the year. Yeah, I kind of have a dry spell, so I'm really sad.
We can fix that.
I keep looking at like the Mexico pictures, and honestly, it's kind of funny thing about traveling. I hadn't been to Fort Lauderdale before, and I just fell in love with the beach there, and just everything about it was just so beautiful to me and so relaxing. And I like mountains or beautiful scenery like that, but for some reason that place for an ocean view,
it's clean.
Nice, it was just
beautiful.
Incredible. I talk about it all the time. Yeah, I was
Mm-hmm.
pulling up my pictures, looking at all the beach ones, and then you know we walked. My husband and I walked along the beach, and I did little videos and stuff. And I had the best time there. And so now I'm like, we have to go back there.
Okay,
we definitely have to go back to Fort Lauderdale.
Wait, twist this arm.
I loved it. So yeah, my moan is that I can't go back tomorrow.
Okay. Well, we can work on that. I have a moan, and I just can't stop seeing him all over. I have this massive crush on Aaron Judge. He is the right fielder for the New York Yankees. He is beautiful. I've had a crush on him for a really long time. And now it's baseball season, and he's just everywhere, all over. He's just so tall. He's 6'7", which is very, very tall for a baseball player. and he holds all these, awards. He MVP. He's been with the Yankees since like 2016, I believe, and he played in the World baseball thing, whatever.
World Series?
Not the World Series. It's it's like a championship world thing. They play like how like soccer plays other countries. They played Mexico, I believe it was, or something like that. I don't know, but anyway, like an all-star thing, kind of thing, But anyways, he's just so beautiful, and I see him, and he's good. He does charity work for children, and the other day I saw him with this woman and his wife, and I'm like, who is she? Why? But anyways, he is super hot, and that's my moan for this week, because he's all over the TV all the time, and I think they were just here yesterday playing the Rangers, the Texas Rangers. Unfortunately, the Yankees lost, but we have to root for Rangers because they're not playing Chicago.
Yeah.
But so I'm glad the Rangers won, but he's still a hottie, and yeah.
Well, speaking of Chicago and the Rangers, that maybe we'll probably have some upcoming pictures. We are going to see the Cubs and the Rangers play.
Yep.
Here next week. So we'll
maybe we'll do a little live feed from there, live video from there.
Yeah, something fun, and we like to go places and do our little podcast now. So maybe we'll
remember,
find a place to sit down and do that.
The Chicago Cubs, the Texas Rangers is where we're gonna draw our line in sand in the line in the sand. Yeah. we will be enemies on that day.
Yeah, I'll be wearing my Rangers World Series jersey.
Well, my Chicago Cubs World Series jersey also. Let's not forget that. But it should be a fun game because we're going with a group of people, so it'll be a good time.
It's gonna be a blast. I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
So thanks for joining us. I think we're out of
I'm
drinks.
out of wine for sure.
Thanks again for hanging out with us. We hope you have a safe trip wherever you may go in the next few months for summer. But we'll touch base again on this and probably and check out like where we have been and what because I have some fun trips coming up, so that we'll talk about. But all right, well, we love seeing you guys, and we'll see you next time.
Bye. Y'all.